There are things that you may be doing that are keeping you stuck and not doing your best for God, especially in your business. This feeling can make you feel frustrated, discouraged, unhappy, and even wanting to give up and abandoning the very thing that God wants you to do through your business. If you've ever felt this way or you're feeling that way right now, I want to give you hope. We're going to go over 5 habits that you may be doing right now that are keeping you feeling stuck. And then we're going to give you some simple yet necessary ideas to help you get unstuck and really moving forward in the things that God is asking you to do. So we're asking you to join us as we talk through these 5 habits that are in many ways how the enemy works to keep you and me stuck and what you can do about it to really overcome them and move forward and really please God. I'm Deneen TV.
And I'm Mary Allure.
So welcome to another episode of the Truth in Business Show, where the truth is God's word and business is how we serve.
Well, and this topic of changing our habits, especially the ones that aren't good for us,
Right.
is an important and powerful discussion. I've learned a lot from you, Janine, about these habits and setting good habits and learning new habits. And I've implemented many in my own life. And some of these practices, of course, they help me get away from the bad habits that I was doing, not only in my work, but for my business, my work, but also my whole life. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I know for me, especially when I was like losing weight the first time and I really needed to do certain things, I had to change the way I thought about things and I had to give myself something else to do. And I think about like chocolate cravings, it's like, is it that bad? Well, it's that bad if it's out of control. But what can I do? Not just try to have willpower and say, I'm not going to have chocolate, but I had to say, okay, what can I do as an alternative? So it is really coming up with different ways to do it. And that's why I think it's powerful if you have the right way to do it, that it's not just about willpower. It's about how do I practically do something so that I can change what is happening right now? So we are going to talk about 5 bad habits. But before we get to that, before we get to our topic, I want to just remind everybody to please subscribe to the channel if you're here watching us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, we always would love for you to give us a 5-star rating. That helps us. Make sure you're following us so you know when episodes come out, and do share it, whatever platform you're on. Share it, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to us. So really appreciate that. Okay, Mary, we're going to get into these habits that I know we may have had, and I know that many people might still have. And I know that specific people, different personalities fall into some of these habits without realizing it. So the first one is infomaniac. That's a coined term on the internet, I found. So it's infomaniac, which what it sounds like, they want information all the time.
Yes, I gotta say, I am an infomaniac. And I get stuck because I want to have all the answers. And then it's overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's a little bit of what I found is that it's called it's part of FOMO, actually, that fear of missing out. You really want to be that go-to person, like I have all the answers. And so what happens is you end up feeling busy all the time because you're constantly looking for all the information. I call it like the trivia buffs. It's like any topic that you can bring up. This person who's an infomaniac knows something about it or has an opinion about it because they read about it. They saw it on a video. They did this, they did that. And I just feel like if you don't concentrate on something, you become the jack of all trades and master of none. Right?
I know, right. And I gotta say, nobody likes a know-it-all. Nobody. So if you're the one who's always like, oh, this answer for this, nobody likes to know it all.
Oh, but really, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
All that information in your brain too. It's just like, how can you have your sharp mind? Because your mind is cluttered with all this stuff.
I know, I know. I, in being quote in the know all the
Yeah.
time, you are just spreading yourself so thin and you can't become the expert that you need to be, especially in our businesses, especially when we want to
Yes.
be seen as a leader in our industry or and have people trust us. We really do need to not be an infomaniac. Only infomaniac on a focused topic. That's fine, but
Yeah.
not on all the
All
topics.
the topics.
Like you
Yes.
said, nobody likes to know it all, right?
I know.
So what
What?
should we do? What
Yes.
is one thing that we can give as advice to help other people, to help those that are listening, watching out there, to really stop being an infomaniac if that's what the problem is? What do you
Uh,
think?
Stop. Put down your phone. Take a breath. Wait and put it off, for like 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
you'll be surprised. Like, oh, wait a minute, that isn't that important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
or if I get that way and I'll write it down and I'll just write it down. Okay, I wrote it down and then I'll look back and I'm like, oh, I don't need to do that. Or
I mean,
once
we
you get
don't
it
have
out
to
of your
go
mind.
after, yeah, we don't have to go after every thought that pops into our brain,
Right.
right?
Yes,
And like you said,
absolutely.
taking that breath and taking 5 minutes, just keep doing whatever it is you're doing, whether you're at your computer typing away or you're making dinner or doing the laundry. Wait, because it
Yes.
probably isn't everything that you need. I always say too, if I don't have a place to write it down, which is a really good idea, I always say to God, I go, if this is an important thing that I need to remember, please bring it up again. Please bring
Ah,
it up again. Please bring it up again.
I
I,
like that.
but I found in the waiting that you have that it gives you this capacity. It's like working a muscle. It gives you resistance to the next time that thing
Yeah.
something pops in your brain. You don't have to take
Very good.
on. You don't have to go find out more about it right this second. So
Yep.
that is good advice. And that leads us right into the second piece, that second habit that people could have. If you're an infomaniac, what you're probably doing is finding out a lot of stuff, but you're stuck in, I know a lot of stuff versus
Yeah.
the doing. So you're stuck in that knowing versus doing trap. This is another coined phrase I found as well, because you, especially for people, I know this is a trap that I could have gotten into really easily because I am a self-development junkie. I
Mhm.
am really committed to my goals. I'm committed to doing the things I'm passionate about. And when I jump into something, I want to learn everything there is to learn about it right away. So I
Uh-huh.
do know that I am a knowledge junkie
Ah.
in specific
Yeah.
focuses, but
Right.
I always have to apply it because if you don't apply it,
Yeah.
and I learned this when I was a teacher, if I didn't have the kids actually apply what they were learning, they didn't actually learn it. They always say
Absolutely.
that you can know that you understand something really completely when you can teach it to somebody else. And even the act of teaching it to somebody else helps you be actionable to actually doing it and not getting stuck in the trap.
Right. Yeah. Right. And then you have that gap. There's a gap between
Mm-hmm.
knowing and actually taking action.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you're just talking about it or if it's just in your mind and you haven't done it, it's not going to stick with you.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It might just as general knowledge, but not.
Yeah. And I see this trap a lot with our clients. They are getting all this knowledge, this
Yeah.
information, and they're like, oh yeah, I understand now that I need to talk to my ideal clients, for example. But then they don't actually make the phone calls that we tell them to make or make the
Right.
Zoom calls that we tell them to make. So it's like, oh, I need to talk to them. I understand that I need to talk to them. What are some ways I can talk to them without really talking to them?
Mm-hmm.
They try to
Right.
wiggle their way out. And really, sometimes people in their mind, they think about something, they think they've actually done it. So that's a little trap that you need to really
That is
be
a
careful
trap.
about. I think about it with language learning. And when I've seen people, I mean, I taught Spanish for a long, long time. And I probably even had this when I was in school that you want it to be perfect when it comes out. So you learn. I had a big vocabulary. I could write it. I could do all this stuff. But until I actually sat down and listened to people in the language and actually spoke the language, no matter how it came out, I was stuck in that I had a lot of knowledge about Spanish, but I
Yeah.
just didn't use it. And in languages, especially if you don't use it, you lose it. And
Yeah.
so it is so true that you have to get past this, because I mean, I know it can feel good to be
Yeah.
like consuming and getting the information and getting the knowledge. And so if somebody asks you a question, it's almost like the infomania, right? They're like,
It
I
is.
know the answer, but it's very focused, and it is in that personal development usually. So,
Right.
you don't have this problem though, do you?
I don't think this is a big one for me. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. So what can we
Yeah.
do about it? What can we do today? What's a some small thing that we can do to kind of make sure we're not stuck in this knowledge versus action gap?
Yeah, well, you have to take action and
Yeah.
and you know what? It's not easy. And I think we do that because it's not easy. Like I'd rather just learn about Spanish than actually talk to somebody face to face about it.
Yeah.
Sure. So you have to go and think about, just do one thing at a time. Of course, don't overwhelm yourself. Just go back to the last thing that you can think of, that idea that you liked or you heard about, and just put one into practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just one thing, like, oh, I just learned how to do this thing on YouTube or on Instagram, or I learned how to make this really cool thing on Canva.
Yeah.
I learned it, but did you actually use it in your social media?
Right.
Did you actually put it into action? Go back, do that one thing, practice that one thing, implement that one thing into your
Yep.
life, into your business, and see what happens. And if it's something like creating a habit, do it. Don't think about it, write it down, make a plan, and then actually do it. So, okay, that's all we can say about that one. I think that, but it is actually that knowing doing gap is something that everyone can also look up on the internet and find out more about it
Yep.
if you feel like that's you. Okay, now the third thing we're going to talk about, of these 5 habits that are keeping you stuck. Now, because we can't say that they're bad habits.
No,
They
they're
aren't
really
bad
not.
habits. They are keeping you stuck because you're in this sort of rotation cycle, instead of moving forward. So, like the knowledge doing. So there you go. Okay, this
Yep.
one's called the achievement addict. So,
Mm.
so this is the person who's always looking towards their next goal. Okay. So
Yeah.
this is the person that has like this huge to-do list, and they're like, okay, I want to get this done and this done and this done. They have goals in the future. They have goals right now. They never even stop.
Yeah.
They get something accomplished, and then they're on to the next thing. They get something
Right.
accomplished, they're on to the next thing. They're not doing them. And what we like to do is celebrate. Have somebody
Right.
say, good job, or say good job to yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Encourage yourself. That's what we always say. Just like David, right? He encouraged himself.
Exactly, exactly. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times we put our identity
Yeah.
into how much we can get done, how much we can
Ah, this
achieve.
is huge for me. This is huge for me. I do this.
Okay, so this one's more towards, okay, this is what
Yes,
you
this
have to
is
be careful of.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to be
Okay.
careful because my identity is what I can do, what I can achieve. And I'm
Mhm.
working on it. I really am working on it.
Well,
I have
yeah.
changed a lot with this, but my just like the endless to-do list. And then I feel like I have these time constraints, and it's like, oh my gosh, Mary, just stop and try to put priorities first.
We put that on ourselves. There's
We
nobody
do.
in our
There's
business,
nobody.
Mary, nobody's saying, here is our deadline. We give ourselves these
We do.
deadlines.
We
And then
do.
and then we go, all right, we completed that deadline. What's our next deadline?
What's
Instead,
next?
stop.
Yep.
We have to celebrate. We have to
Yep.
know that we did a good job. And
Right.
because we are Christians, our identity is not getting it. It's not about getting all these things done. It's really about who we're doing it for, whose we
Yeah.
are. We are God's, and God's called us into this business. He's called us to serve these women that are our clients that come into our sphere of influence. And that's what it should be our driving factor, not the fact that we got some dopamine hit
I
because
know.
we got to check it off.
I know, gosh. Oh, it's not a good way to work because then at least I do. I feel guilty when I'm not working on task, and it could be work tasks, or it could be home tasks. For
Oh
me,
yeah.
I'm the same way for all of them. Like, oh, I didn't get that done.
I
Oh, I
know.
didn't get that
Heaven,
done.
heaven forbid you sit down and decide you're going to watch a movie
Right,
or go
right.
out with friends, or you could turn the going out with friends into a task, oh, I'm going out with
Right.
my friends, whatever, a
Yeah.
goal. And so,
Yep.
but yeah, but I get that too. It's like, Deneen, you really have nothing to do right now. You
I know.
really can take a minute or a
Yeah.
few and sit down and watch a movie, or just, go out and not feel like, oh, I got so much to do. I understand that time constraint. We put
Yeah.
ourselves into these schedules where we pressure ourselves so much. We think we don't have time. And it's all a matter of, how do we prioritize time? How do we
Yep. Yep.
prioritize those things that we want to do? Because if we don't, and we feel that pressure all the time, we're just going to get burnt out, and
Oh, yes.
we can't be of service to
No.
anyone. We can't be of service to God. We can't be of service to the people he's called us to serve. We cannot be doing our best if we are constantly feeling the pressure of go, 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 do, 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 until we are dead, dead, dead.
Yes. I know, yes. And then, when you have that burnout, then you feel resentment
Mhm.
and you're crabby, and that's not good. It's
Right. And I think
no.
it takes away from your mental capacity
Yeah,
too. It just pulls
definitely.
all your energy, because you're just so, like you said, crabby. You're such a mess, and you're just like,
Yeah,
you're not any good to anybody. Okay. So,
right.
what can we do? What is one thing that we can do that will help us to not have this achievement addiction? What do you think?
Right. Well, one thing is that you can do is actually schedule time to do things that aren't working. Just like you said, schedule time to watch a movie, or schedule time just to do nothing, or sit
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Schedule that time. And it makes me think of like the Sabbath,
Mm,
like schedule that time. Like, yes, I am going to do this and I'm not going to work. And so if
mhm.
you have to do something earlier or later or after, then schedule it. Know ahead of time that
Yeah.
this is what you're going to do.
Yeah. I think a lot of entrepreneurs replaced their fun activities, the hobbies, the things that they enjoyed or that restored them. I think they just replaced it with, okay, I'm either working, 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 or I'm sleeping.
Yes, exactly.
And there's no in between. And so, what are those things that you enjoy? I enjoy movies. I will say I watched a horrible movie on Friday night, but then I watched a better movie on
Oh,
Saturday
good.
night, that kind of thing. We're just a movie people. So that's what we do. But like on Sabbath, I'm glad you brought that up, because on Sabbath, I, you know, I watch church. Sleep is part of that, because my Sabbath's 24 hours. So I sleep in. I don't like
Yep.
get up early, and I stay in my pajamas a little bit longer.
Yep.
I have church, and then usually it's going out and being with family, or I am, well, now that I live here in South America, I go to the pool, something that
Nice.
gives me, and we go for a walk. It's just, we don't do the regular routine, but I have things that I know I like that I save for that
Yeah.
time. So it's not
Right.
like, well, what am I going to do on this Sunday? I have
Exactly.
things that I know how to do. And I know for some people, their hobbies can really become lifesavers for them, as far as that
Yeah.
burnout and everything like that. My daughter's a YouTuber, and she loves crocheting. She's found crocheting at the, late 20s. All these people are crocheting again. It's like my grandmother used to crochet.
Yep.
But
Yep.
anyway, it's just something that she has found. It just is a stress reliever. It's something
Yeah.
she can do when she's watching TV, watching a movie that's not involving her phone. So that I thought that
Yes.
was really, really good. And a lot of times what we do as entrepreneurs too is we're always looking at other people. We're always comparing ourselves to what they have and what they're doing. And we really just need to slow down and appreciate
Yeah.
what we do have. And I think that can help us too, and stop looking for that next achievement, that next thing that I'm going to get done. And I think that'll help a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Okay, so, well, now we want to know from you guys, our listeners and watchers, which one of these can you relate to the most? I know we've gone through three and there's two more, but what has you saying, I think that's me. I think I need to try one of those solutions. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to
Yes.
know what's hitting home for you and what you're going to do to overcome and get unstuck. We'd love seeing you, hearing from you in the comments, and we promise to respond, of course.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It's kind of the thing we love, is to be able to connect with you. So,
Yeah.
okay. So let's get into the fourth one. Now, so if somebody's out there and they haven't connected with one of these yet, which both of us have admitted we already have,
Yeah.
maybe these last two are you. The second, yeah, the fourth one, I guess we're on the fourth one, is endlessly multitasking.
Yep.
Uh, this is not me.
This was me, but I've changed completely and I love it. I love it. It makes me so happy
It's a lot more
that I'm not.
peaceful.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. And I always say, and I'm going to say it again just in case somebody didn't hear it, that we were sold a bill of goods in the 80s to become a multitasker. In fact, it was something we put on our resume. I am a excellent multitasker and can take on many projects at one time. It was something that we put in our heading of our resume.
Oh my goodness. You know
Ah,
how when I hear about this, it sounds just like it's so tiring, because
yes.
really what's happening in our brains is we are getting a dopamine hit when we
Yeah.
switch tasks, because it's new, it's novel, and your brain loves novel stuff.
Ah,
And that's what it doesn't like it when it's the same, and it makes those ruts in your brain. Like, I know
mm,
it's not a rut,
mm.
but it makes
Yeah. Yeah.
pathways in your brain,
Pathways. Yeah.
and it gets bored. And that's why the dopamine is such an addiction. It's like you switch a task and you get a little boom in your brain,
Yeah.
and
Really. Mm.
because you get a little bit of boredom, and you go, oh, well, let me check my phone. Oh, well, let me go over
Yes.
here. Or, oh, that thing popped in my head that I can't resist go looking at because I'm an
Yes.
infomaniac or whatever it is, right? What we need to realize is that it takes away from your brain power. And I've talked about this
Yeah.
before. When you are multitasking, it's like watching a tennis match. Your brain is ping pong, or a ping
Yeah.
pong match, ping ponging back and forth between the two. It's not that it can concentrate on both sides of the court at the same
Right.
time. It can't. It has to stop and switch, stop and switch. And it's
Yeah.
all you're doing is draining your, what I call the brain, the CFO, the chief financial officer
Mm.
of your body. And it's looking for ways to save you energy. That is its main job, is so that you have the brain capacity to do the work that's in front of you. So
Yeah.
it's trying to look for ways to save. And if you're multitasking, you're going, it's like you might as well have a hose in the gas tank and you're just pulling it right out. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. It's
It
crazy.
is
It actually is.
crazy.
It actually is. Our brains, we need stillness. Not
Right.
why
I
did
know
God
what.
tell us to be still and know that He is God? Because He knew we needed
Yes.
it.
We need stillness. I mean, there's so many things about just being still and just taking a deep breath, rest your brain. But it's hard to, because there's so much information out there. And I think, it's linked to fear of missing out. Like,
Oh,
oh,
definitely.
just like the tennis match. Like, well, if I don't look at this side, what if I miss this side? What if I miss this side?
Right.
And that's what we do with information and
Mhm.
everything that's coming at us. Um, if you're even driving down the road, like I have to tell myself, just look straight ahead and concentrate. Don't look at everything that's trying to get my attention.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know I have to, when I really want to think about something, because my brain seems to want to go, all of our brains go in like 40 directions. I
Yeah.
have to literally say, think, Deneen, think. And I have to, and that's why it's so good to write things down
Yeah.
and to have that journal or to have that piece of paper or whatever, is that when you're thinking through something, you need to really write it down, write the ideas that are coming, and remind yourself to continue to think about it. Now, this is hard. I know this is hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard.
John Maxwell says to sit down for 30 minutes every day and think. I don't think I have that much time,
Uh,
but I know that when I'm using my journal in the morning, when I'm having my quiet time with God and my brain is still, and especially that first hour or so of the morning, I get a lot more ideas, but I
yeah.
record them so that I don't lose them. And so some of the things that we can do, and that's what we're going towards, is what
Yeah.
can we do, is really be comfortable
Right.
being a little bit bored, being
Yep.
alone with yourself, your God, with God, and not think that you need to have stimulation all the time. Like when you get up, don't grab your phone to go
Right.
check your Instagram. Stop and talk to God while you're still in bed.
Yeah.
Do some exercises, get up and do, but don't think that you need to be entertained. Don't turn the television on.
I
Don't
know.
put the music on. Just be quiet. I think
Just be quiet. Yeah.
that's the best thing that I have found. I don't know.
Yep.
Has that been helpful
Definitely.
for you?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You have to resist that urge. You
Hmm.
really do. You have to practice it. It's not going to come easy. And you can start with just doing it for 5 minutes and then see if you can take it longer. Really have to, it takes practice.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
don't open something new every time you have that urge or impulse
right,
again, right? It's
right.
like that's one of the reasons, like, turn off notifications so you're not
Yeah,
constantly being bombarded when you are working on something. You don't need to multitask. Oh, I'm just going to go over here and check this. And then
yeah,
it's going to take you 15 minutes to get back to whatever it is you were doing.
I know. Don't check your email. Don't let it sit there open so that you see that the new messages come through.
Hmm.
That kind of distraction is not going to help you really to stay in the moment and to work on and focus on what you need to get done.
And sometimes that means just something as simple as putting on a timer and saying,
Yep.
I'm working on this project until that timer goes off. I'm not going to open something new. I'm not going to have anything else open
Right.
right now. I'm just going to have that one
Yep.
thing that I'm going to do. And that's all I'm going to do right now. Now, some people are really good at that. Some people need to work at that. Some people know that they're not good at all. That I like what you said, just do it for 5 extra
Yep.
minutes. Like you have that impulse to go over there, but for 5 minutes, just keep working on what you're
Yep.
working and see if that urge kind of goes away as well.
Yes.
That's why I
Yes.
like what we do is, when we talk about our co-working, excuse me, in the past, we talk about using a 50-minute hour
Yep.
or the Pomodoro method, whichever way is going to work best for you. Now, if anybody
Right.
doesn't know, the Pomodoro method is the work for 25 minutes, take 5 minutes to get up, take breather, get a drink, whatever, go back 25 more minutes. So every hour you're breaking it up like that.
Yeah.
The 50-minute hour, I prefer.
Me too.
Yeah, just 50 minutes, 50,
Five
and you
zero.
get a
Yep.
whole 10 minutes to take a break. So
Yeah.
that gives you time to go get water. You can, if you want to meditate on scripture because you're memorizing something, you want to go take your dog out to go to the
Yep.
bathroom,
Right.
whatever it
Get some
is.
steps in. I take it to get some steps in. I just walk around the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. And it really helps you refresh your brain and come
Mm-hmm.
back at it with a fresh new perspective.
Right. And there is brain science behind that, brain research behind
Yeah.
that. It does refresh your brain
Yeah.
so that you can either continue with what you were doing or you can then switch to a new thing.
Yeah.
But make that, if you're making a to-do list every day of the things you want to get accomplished, do one thing at a time. Do not multitask.
Yep. No, absolutely not. No. And
Okay.
all of these lead into a biggie, Deneen. A biggie.
What's number 5, Mary?
Your phone and how attached we all are to our phones.
Okay, this is going to be so interesting because I know everybody's thinking, oh, it's about scrolling on your phone. No, it's not. It's about your phone being in your presence,
Yep.
even if you have it turned upside down on your desk. Now, I just picked it up off my desk, so everybody knows it's on my desk.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm not
mine
even
is right
following,
here too.
I'm not following my own advice. But I will tell you this, I don't have problems with it. I not like other people. And that's just because this is not a problem for me. But I think that other people, it is a problem. But there has been brain research on this that it's a brain drain, even if it's upside down on your desk. There was a study in 2017 at the University of Texas, Austin, that says that it your cognitive capacity is actually impaired and that your cognitive function is significantly reduced when your phone is within reach
We
of
are in
you.
trouble.
And it's not even the fact that the notifications are dinging or that you have it on vibrate. It is the fact that it is present in your presence. And that's what they're talking about.
And for most people, when is it not in our presence?
I know.
For me, for most people,
I know.
it's always in my presence.
Yeah, me too.
Unless, well, yeah.
And because of that, the actual act of resisting checking it is causing your brain to have that brain drain, the energy drain.
Craziness.
I mean, even if you think, well, I'm okay, I'm not checking it. The fact that you're thinking about the fact that you're not checking it is actually taxing your brain.
Yep.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Right. Yep. It is. It is. It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. And so it's not just, it takes away from your focus. It depletes your energy. It is not good. Now, have I gotten rid of it after I read this study? Did I get rid of my my phone off of my desk? No, I did not. But and I like to pick up my phone when I leave my desk because it counts my steps. So if I don't, but I realize how much I don't have it in my hand. And so I'm thinking, even if I were to put it outside the office, if I leave it on, if the phone rings and somebody actually needs me, that it'd be okay. But I will say, I can just say I know I'm a more disciplined person when it comes to things like this.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
But I know everyone isn't it. So what can we do? Got to put the phone away.
Put it away. Put it away.
Just a simple little habit. Yeah. Don't turn it upside down. It has to be out of your presence. You cannot see it. So that's a very powerful thing to do. Can be scary at first. Leave it on. So yes, you can hear if it's dinging or whatever. And then say, give yourself times when you're going to go check it. Oh, after I do my 50-minute hour, I will go check my phone while I'm taking my steps or whatever it is that you're going to do. That kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah. I think that kind of cognitive reinforcement is it's something easy we can do. And because we want it so bad, it is a reward, which is crazy thinking about it. But if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to try.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great thing to do as a reward for, okay, I'm going to spend the next 50 minutes doing a 50-minute hour working on this particular project, one project, because you're going to be focused, and then say, and when I get done, I'm going to walk out to the kitchen or wherever you left your phone, and I'm going to scroll through Instagram, or I'm going to check something I thought about and wrote down on the side of my thing, or whatever it is, and use it as a reward. I think that's a great idea. And those stretches can go longer and longer when you realize that you don't need it. Now, personally, if I have my little list of social media things I do every day. And so I have my Instagram. I only do that on my phone. So I have to plan that. So that's another thing you can write down on your to-do list for the day is that, okay, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to do this, or after I do this, I'm going to do my Instagram or whatever it is. put a timer on it if you can't trust yourself. Say
Right.
for 10 minutes, I'm going to scroll through whatever I need to scroll through on social media or whatever it is. Those are all
Yeah.
good practical things that you can do to get over the attachment to our phone.
Right. Right. You can set it on your phone too. You can set, I can't remember what they're called, but you can set time
Oh,
limits on your phone,
yeah.
at least with an iPhone. So you
Yeah.
could
There
set
are
time
apps for that,
limits.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And it'll tell you, and then you got to stop. That's a thing. It'll tell you, but you got to stop.
yeah. You just have to do
Just,
what you wanted, what you said you were going to
yeah.
do. And in the long run, you're going to be
It's true.
better,
In the
feel
long run.
better, do better,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things.
Right.
So, it is true that we thrive when we accomplish our goals. We know that we have more positive emotions. We have that better sense of
Yeah.
satisfaction when we actually do what we say we're going to do
Yes.
and we follow through. We
Right.
get stuck because we don't know why we're doing things sometimes. We don't have a reason behind it. We're just doing it because, everyone else is doing
Yeah.
it, or we think that it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we get stuck in habits that we don't know why we were there. But
Right.
when you don't know why what you're doing is important, and when it's not linked to your values that you have, the purpose that you have, that's when you get stuck. And we call that being stuck in those roundabout, whether it's
Yep.
a roundabout of ideas and you don't know which direction to go, or just a roundabout rut of you just keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, being insane, thinking that it's
Right.
going to, something is going to happen, right?
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So let me
Just like
ask,
if you
go
saw
ahead.
somebody driving around a roundabout or not ever getting out, you'd say that person's crazy.
Exactly, exactly. So let me ask, what habit or habits need to change for each one of you who are listening to us, you who are watching us? Are you in infomania? Are you in that knowing versus doing trap? Are you in achievement addiction? Or maybe you're in multitasking mode, or you have that attachment to your phone.
Mm.
Take some time and reflect on what God wants you to do and how He wants you to serve, and really start to feel the satisfaction in doing just that. So, are you looking for a way to get unstuck and create your God centered business? You're going to be able to click on the link below and watch our training, free training that will give you the answers that you need to be more satisfied working in your calling.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us on the Truth in Business Show. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you're listening, we'd love for you to do a review and share the episode. This is Mary Allure.
And I'm Deneen TV. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, be filled to overflowing.